Josh Green here for Tungsten Tales. Delighted to be joined by John O'Shea after a great couple of weeks on the tour. John, how you doing, my friend?
Not too bad now, Josh.
Good to hear.
Not too bad at all.
Good to hear. Well, we mentioned it just off camera, but it's been a really, really good couple of weeks for yourself. We'll start off at the sharp end with the Pro Tour just over a week ago. How exciting was it to make that final up on the Pro Tour just a few months into your PDC career?
Yeah, it was, some of these days just come out of the blue, so you gotta run with it then when you're getting the opportunities to go deep into tournaments, So yeah, it was breaking new ground running to a final, but on the PDC circuit, getting to a final, as you well know, is extremely, extremely hard. So yeah, just to get to the final, it was I really enjoyed that day.
Just looking at some of the names that you beat on the way, major finalist Dave Chisnell, who's won countless floor events, Nathan Aspinall, TV champion, and every player on that tour knows what it takes to get to a final and to beat some of those players must give you so much confidence.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you've got 128 best players supposedly in the world on these Pro Tour events, You got some guys that are missing and replacements, and even the replacement guys that are coming in off the Challenge Tour, as you well know, can do the business just as fast, So yeah, I take everything in my stride, I won't a lot of nights sleep if I don't win a game of darts. As you must remember, at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's a game of darts,
Going into the year, coming out of Q School, what sort of expectations did you give yourself, and are they things that you've maybe achieved already just a few months in?
Yeah, Q School for me, I think I lost count how many times I went there. Lost out a few times. Look, at the end of the day, I look good enough to get a card. That was my end goal. I've done WDF, PDO stuff for years. I used to do it regularly. It was just a lot of, I was working for myself, and it's just when the opportunity arose to go to an event, I went to it. But the past few years, all right, I went and had a good crack off Q School. Maybe there was a time there 1 year I didn't go. Yeah, getting a tour card was right up there, winning the World Masters. But it's the whole different. You got the bar was raised again. You know what I mean? If you're playing at a level and then you go to the PDC, you see all the names, you see the talent week in, week out. You know what I mean? If so, at the end of the day, the bar had to be raised again. More hours had to go in on the practice board, structured routines, structured practice sessions. You just couldn't be randomly throwing at a board.
You mentioned that you'd been playing on the BDO and now the WDF circuit for all those years. How much has changed in your life becoming a PDC professional and becoming one of the 128?
Change, I'm just at home wise it hasn't changed anyway, After being away probably a little bit more than normal. We still here at home, Laura still works, the kids have their sporting activities, they still need to be met. At the end of the day, the world don't stop just because John O'Shea got a tour card, day-to-day life still goes on. So look, when I'm at home, it takes me away from what's coming up next in the PDC, whatever that may be. But at the end of the day, life here still goes on. They love the game here. Kids love playing it, but they also love their own sports, So as regards to changing me, I wouldn't think it'd have changed me much, I'm still crazy, so, and the kids the kids do their own thing. Laura's quite happy with the way things are at the moment. So I think anything has changed, you know. So it makes life a bit easier for me when I go away, knowing that there's no pressure on me, you know.
I was going to say, I mean, yeah, I was going to say, does it take a little bit of pressure off your shoulders knowing you can go away to darts for a Pro Tour weekend or a European tourney weekend, and now you're coming back and everything's the same, nothing's changed?
Yeah, it massively takes massive pressure knowing that Laura here is the big key. Like, as you know, like most sports people will tell you, like, whether it is a man or a woman, like, you know, having support at home is huge. Like, there's no point in going away playing an event if things at home aren't, if they're not happy with you going away all the time, or things are under pressure, bills are adding up. You know, we don't have that pressure, you know. So it's the case of she's behind me 110% all the time, you know. So yeah, I would imagine. Look, I can't speak for everybody, only for myself, like, but it takes pressure off me when I going away, knowing that, yeah, the kids are looked after. Laura has her job, you know, she has a good job, and, you know, things at home. I get as much as I possibly can done at home before I leave, so it leaves as little as possible to be done when I do go away, you know. So yeah, it works for now, you know. So
going back to the darts, following that final, do you feel like you can go from strength to strength? You've got out the way the fact that you can get to the final. Do you feel like the next step is winning one of those Pro Tours?
Yeah, I would imagine my way of thinking is I can win anything I put my mind to. I've always thought like that, no matter what sport I've played down through the years. If it was hurling and football, whether it be rugby, you know, I'm very competitive. I don't kind of just dwell on something. Like, I mean, that Pro Tour is over now. There's 15 left. I'd like to think that I could get to another one. Well, yeah, I do believe I could win something. I do believe I could win something big, even in the PDC. And you know, a lot of people will laugh at that, like saying, "Oh, you just got to talk and he's going to win a major." Look, if your dreams aren't big enough and they don't frighten you, then they're not big enough. You know, that's the way I look at it. Look, I'm under no pressure to win anything. I'm not under any pressure to defend money. I'm not under any pressure to pay a mortgage. I could end up being a thorn in a load of people's sides, like, you know. So for me, it's just all about performing, how I play, how I played. I do a lot of, probably too much thinking at times, but a lot of times when I play well, it all comes from what I've been doing at home, as regards to practice and stuff. You know, if it's not right at home when I'm practicing, it's certainly not going to be right when I go away. Like, so. So yeah, look, I think I could win anything, to be honest. Like, you know, I really do. Like, nothing fares me. No player is too big in my eyes. You know, he's got 3 darts just as much as I've got 3 darts. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's the fella that finishes the game faster and the least amount of darts is the winner.
That's the way to think about it. That is the way to think about it.
It's always been my way of thinking. You know, I don't. Like, if someone goes in and beats me 6-0 with 110 average, I'll shake his hand and say, "Well, fair play to you, lad." You know,
that's it.
Just go back and regroup and come again.
Yeah, and we've got to say, Irish darts is in a cracking place at the moment. Obviously, Willie and Steve have been up there in the PDC for many years now, but Keane Barry obviously starting to really pull the trigger, and he made that UK Open semi-final, of course.
Yeah.
Katie Sheldon doing good things on the women's series as well. Irish darts seems to be in a really good place.
Yeah, Irish darts was kind of always really in a good place, even if you were to go back a few years ago when Mick McGowan was playing and led the way along with Brendan for many years, you know. Willie's been around. I think he's one of very few guys that's never even seen the inside of Thorsten, and probably never will, because he's always been secure every year, you know. So Yeah, and Stephen the last few years, Keane recently again, you know. Yeah, Irish Darts is in a good place, you know. We had a lot of guys that dabbled in the PDC for years, you know. You Connie Finnan, um, you know, there's others there as well, you know. Yeah, I mean, like even the women, Katie and Bob and Byrne are leading the way in the women's. You know, we've plenty of youths. The youth system is going deep now into tournaments. Practice before I left there for Pro Tours 14 and 15 last week with a few of the young lads playing on the JDC tour. Callum and Thomas had a few games, a few hours online with the two of them before they went away. Probably get in another practice session with them every week now. You know, so yeah, it's good. Like, you know, there's a lot in the game now for guys that probably wasn't there 30 years ago when I was starting out. You know, yeah, there's massive opportunities there now for any young girl, young boy that wants to make a living out of the game. You know.
You talk about the JDC there and the sort of structure there is all across the UK and venturing out into Europe as well now with the JDC. What do you feel like it would have been like having that sort of structure when you were coming into the game?
Yeah, look, I use the JDC in practice all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just for youths. You know, it's for everybody. You know, there's a lot of good practice routines. You know, it works for everybody at all ages, not just for youths. Like, but if the system was there going back a few years ago, we might have a whole lot of different new world champions. You know, the youth today, you can see it even on the Pro Tours or WDF. Like, you've the likes of Luke Littler, you know, 15 years of age. You've got the guys that are with me, yeah, Josh Rock. Yeah, you know, all these guys, Keane Barry. But there's just so many to mention now. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a good system, and Steve Brown has done a good job. You know, fair play to him. Fair play to him.
So, well, yeah, really appreciate your time, John. Thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your time, and best of luck over the next few weeks. Busy few weeks for yourself.
Yeah, no bother, Josh.